Okay, so this is mostly a video response to a video, or the most recent videos from Monday Matt, where he calls for support from gamers on YouTube regarding the Gamersgate controversy, which is surrounding various major gaming journalist websites and various game developers and feminists, or you could say social justice warriors is another way to put it. Depends how you look at it. I've been following this loosely for a while now, but originally I sort of skipped over it because it was very complicated, and I didn't want to judge too quickly. This was when it was mostly about Zoe. I didn't want to judge anybody too quickly without knowing all the details, but there was so much. Just what I saw was one Imager page that had about 20 or 30 images on it, which was that was just a summary, just showing all the back and forth communication. So yeah, it wasn't for a while, a few days, until I started to become properly interested in it. That was when I heard Total Biscuit talking about it, or writing about it, because he somehow got involved and got drawn into it. So after that, I started to research it a bit more. I saw the Internet Aristocrats video about it. I can't remember what it was called. Quinspiracy something. But yeah, then I realised it wasn't really that difficult to understand. And since then I've just been kind of keeping up with it. So really, what I wanted to do was come and offer my perspective, although I don't usually do this sort of thing. Though my channel is not really political, but I thought this was quite an important issue, more so than people are making it out to be. So this is mostly what I want to talk about, is these articles, 10 articles that came out around the same time, that are claiming that the gamer identity is under threat, or gamers should be embarrassed because of the actions of a few select, mostly unknown people, who are not even necessarily gamers per se, but the insinuation is that if you are a gamer, if you identify yourself as a gamer, you are firstly immature and causing trouble and abuse, death threats, etc. But not only that, but what they're trying to say is that you're against this social justice movement. You're against Zoe Quinn, you're against Anita Sarkeesian, and they're kind of assuming that if you identify yourself as a gamer, then you're against that, and then so what they're saying is that if you're against that, then you're a bad person. So that means that anybody who is a gamer is therefore all of these things, and therefore should be ashamed that they are a gamer. So I would it's something I've thought about before. What is the definition of gamer? What are the prerequisites? Is it just a label you apply to yourself? Is it a social group? Is it do you have to be a certain age? Do you have to have a certain personality, or is it really just something that's inevitable, in the sense that if you do this activity, then you are this thing. If you live in America, you are an American. If you play games, you are a gamer. I think you can, to an extent, you can look at it how you want, but my definition would be if playing games regularly is one of your main forms of entertainment, then you are a gamer. I'm not including like playing mobile games while traveling. That wouldn't count. But if it's something that you do regularly and at home, and it's something you enjoy, then I would say you are a gamer. And you don't have to be a certain type of person. But if you don't want to associate with that label, then that's okay. But yeah, that's my view on it. Okay, so the thing that initially annoyed me about this was these websites like Kotaku and Polygon, etc. They are representing gaming. They are, they're meant to be gamers themselves, and yet they're trying to remove the identity of gaming. They're trying to remove a fundamental part of what they stand for, which just makes no sense. I'm not ashamed at all to be a gamer, because even if I don't necessarily consider myself to be a gamer, but let's say I do, I'm not ashamed because I haven't done anything wrong. And most gamers have not done anything wrong, so we have nothing to feel ashamed about. But that's where this thing comes in, that if you don't agree with Zoe and if you don't agree with Anita, then there must be something wrong with you, and that's the message that they're trying to send, and that's what annoys me, I suppose, as well. That's the other thing that annoys me. But if you want to see my credentials, here's my Steam profile. So, I am undoubtedly a gamer. 400 hours on Call of Duty 2, which, although I don't really play it anymore, it was a great game back in the day. Mostly actually got like shooting games and war games on here, but that's not really representative of what I play. That's just what happens to be on Steam. It's just the things that I've bought on Steam. I actually play a lot of MMORPGs, although I don't really post that so much on my channel. I play a lot of MMOs and JRPGs and just general like free-to-play stuff that would never see Steam. Well, you can get a few things on there, but yeah, I don't actually have that many games on Steam though, to be fair. I probably should have more. I have more than this. This is just the top showing. But there is no doubt that I am a gamer. Whereas Anita and Zoe, I've seen nothing really that indicates that. Of course, you don't need to show your credibility, but this is just in case anybody's like gonna bring it up. But then again, I think if you're criticizing gaming and you're trying to make changes in gaming, you're trying to influence development, then you should know something about it. You should be interested in it, which is the problem with Anita, is it's quite obvious that she's not interested. And I saw Thunderfoot's video a while ago, and it was fairly obvious that she was not that credible, and I lost the intellectual respect for her quite quickly. When I don't hate these people, but I think she is taking people for a ride, and just playing the system really, playing the victim card to exploit people and just get as much money as possible. And while I don't think she's necessarily a terrible person for that, but I think there's worse people out there. It's not really something we should be supporting. It's not, it's fairly obvious to me. I don't see why these gaming websites don't understand. Unless I've made a massive mistake, that really seems unlikely. Because they could just refute these claims. If that was the case, it would be a non-issue. So yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the things they've been calling us gamers. So they've been saying things like nerds, sexist, misogynistic. If you're a gamer, then that's what you are. That's what they've been saying. So let's see what misogynistic means. So we look it up on Google. Dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against women. So you have a mistrust of women, you disrespect them, you question their abilities compared to men, you think men are superior, you prefer socializing with men, you think women are just for certain things, they're not that useful, anything along that lines, or even hate, but I'm not too sure how that works, because how can you have sex with people if you hate them? But well, let's just assume that that's true in some cases, and that's what they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to imply that gamers are, that we're all like that. So, in my case, let's assume that was true. Then, why would I have? If you look at my channel, if you look at these pictures here, most of my characters are female. That's not the picture I wanted. This, so yeah, most of my characters are female, and usually when I can, I'll play a female character. I've got quite a few of them. This from Guild Wars 2. This one from Terra. There's another one from Terra. Yeah, I've got a few of them. Why would I play them if I hated women? Yeah, you know, why would I want to see women all the time? Why would I want to look at girls all the time? But then the other argument comes in that is, oh, you just want to see them for your sexual gratification. You want to see them like walking around with no clothes on, etc., etc. This is what the feminist argument is. You know, that's misogynistic and sexist to want to look at them like that. And I disagree, but I also think that I don't. I mean, I generally don't. Like, if you take a game like Skyrim, where it's not a normal game, I have complete control over it. With the mods, I can create whatever I want, and you know, most of the time my character is not wearing like silly clothes, wearing like leather straps like other people's. She wears sensible clothes, you know, like a normal person would, and that's how I prefer it to be. You know, that's just how it is. You know, and I don't have these characters to belittle women. I don't have them so I can own them. I don't have them for sexual reasons, for you know, to look at their body. I have them for my own personal emotional reasons, or I just want companionship, etc., etc. Just it's the same reasons that you would be interested in a real person. It's just admiration, or you find a beauty in the female form, or whatever. You know, that's all it is, really. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't look at them in wearing like erotic clothing, as evidenced by this. That, you know, that is not all the time. That is rare. That is just me trying something out, you know, to see what I could do with the system, and also just wanting to try and copy other people, and just see what I could create, really. But I also do enjoy those outfits. It's not necessarily a sexual thing, but it can be, but it's not necessarily. So yeah, I'm not saying that I don't do that. I'm just saying that it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a certain perspective, because I don't think that's the case for me. Um, okay, so bear in mind what I just said about there being this balance. So, just looking at a few naked women pictures, it doesn't immediately mean that you're a certain type of person, because you can I mean, lots of people watch pornography, and it doesn't exclude them from having a normal relationship. It doesn't exclude them from having wholesome interaction with other people, and really respecting and viewing other people in the correct way. It doesn't mean that at all. And at the same time, you don't really have what I mean. If people want to look at characters dressed like this in their games, ultimately you don't have the right to say to them, oh no, you can't do that. You don't have the right to take that away from them on the assumption that they have a certain mentality and that is somehow causing problems or causing distress to others. Ultimately, there's bigger problems in the world, really. I mean, people, even if you try to, people will still do this sort of thing. People will still have their private creations. They'll still have these modded games, and they'll still do what they want. Yeah, you can influence the developers as much as possible, and get all the girls covered up as much as you want, but it won't. I don't think it will stop the demand for it, and I don't think it will even stop it from happening. What actually needs to be done is you need to say, look, this is what we think the problem is. This is why you shouldn't do this. This is why you should have properly clothed characters, and go about it that way. Try and convince people and let them see the wrong of their behaviour. Assuming there is even a wrong side to that behaviour, which I don't even think there is. But that's the way to go about it. Not just trying to force people, not just trying to force it and take things away, because it won't work, and at the end of the day you don't have the right to do that. And if there's still any doubt as to how sexist I am or misogynistic, or my viewpoint of women, then take a look at some of the hentai that I read, and judge from that. So this one, so yeah, this is just really disrespectful to women, as you can see, licking their feet and stuff like that. This sort of sexist stuff that a gamer would have, as you expect. So as you can see from this, I like powerful women. this is just a sort of screenshot that I would collect from my female characters. Yeah, so I don't have any issues accepting the superiority of women or their equivalentness. You know, I don't mind like giving authority over to them, providing they are admirable and honest, which is something that people like these game journalists, game developers, etc. are not. And yeah, so my character is better than them, so no problems with that. I have absolute respect for her, but not so much for them. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is one of the main points of the feminist argument, particularly regarding games, and this applies to Anita Sarkeesian's videos, is the topic of objectification. So yeah, I want to give my insights into that, and they use it to describe how women are kind of treated in these games, as though they are just objects, or their body is put into the game for men to enjoy, rather than to view as a woman or an actual person that has feelings, etc., etc. That's what I understand it to mean. See, the problem with that is generally they assume that the only thing that is objectified in the game is the women. Only the women could be objectified. But I think it's not just a case of talking about objectification as a sexual thing, but and looking to see whether the men are sexually objectified as well. But it's more about objectification in the general sense, and I don't think they understand what it actually means, because the way I see it is every character, almost every character in a game is objectified in some way, and that's perhaps a good way to describe it, because they're not, they're just pixels. They're just a model. They're not, that in itself, that visual in itself is not enough to convince you that they're a person. And the way you start to believe that they're a person is through suspension of disbelief, through imagination. So oh God, what's going on now? Yeah, gotta deal with this. Sorry. I think I'm attacking an outpost. So game developers will try quite hard actually to make these characters seem believable, of animation and voice acting and storytelling, and they want you to, they desperately want you to believe that it's a real person. Particularly when it's a story character. You know, games like Final Fantasy come to mind. Oh god, don't know what happened there. Oh, I won. Okay, right. Yeah, they'll try and flesh out the characters as much as possible to aid your imagination. But that's not always. Why is this tiger still here? That's not always a good thing. I mean, objectification can actually be a good thing, because if you look at something like Grand Theft Auto, where you're just driving around running people over, you don't want to view them as a person, because you know that ruins the fun of it when you have to worry, when you start like considering their feelings, overthinking it. You start crying because you ran somebody over in Call of Duty. Grand Theft Auto, or you shot somebody in Call of Duty. It's silly, right? So in that situation, you want to keep the objectification as it is. You don't necessarily want to believe. You don't want to add human qualities. So you want them to be dehumanized, and I'm not really sure what it is that the feminists are getting at in that respect. It's terrible that everything is so dehumanized. But how are you ever going to have fun in a game if everything has to be like real life? It makes no sense, What sort of games are you going to be able to have in that situation where nothing is objectified? So yeah, that's really how it is, I mean, like, the women are objectified because they would be objectified anyway. It's more a case of like avoiding that, or working around that, building upon that to add humanity. And in that respect, like, the strippers in Hitman are no more or less objectified than the random men that are paying them. Just thinking back to Thunderfoot's video. But yeah, that's basically it.